Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for being with the Voice of America.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Mr. Ambassador, for Arab and African peoples, Tunisia came out as a role model for peaceful transition to democracy. What made Tunisia a unique, successful story in the Arab Spring?
There are many reasons for that. First of all, Tunisia is an old nation. It has deep roots in civilization, in culture, in politics, and for a country of more than 3,000 years of civilization, it's not surprising that the democratic transition is smooth. Second, we have political class that is very nationalist and patriotic, and they put the interest of the nation above any other interests. Third element is women, and as you know, Tunisian women are emancipated. They enjoy the same rights as their counterparts male. Fourth, Tunisian people is educated, and that's why Bourguiba, when he established the new government and in the 50s, first thing he did is to educate his people, and we all remember what he said at that time: I want to govern and to lead an educated people rather than ignorant people. Fifth element is the presence in Tunisia of a wide range of NGOs and a vibrant civil society, and they were our watchdog, and they were observing any move by the new governments after revolution, and they were controlling the political process until we succeeded in last year and in 2014 to organize free, transparent and democratic elections.
But 5 years after the uprising, Tunisia is still faced with economic and social problems. How crucial are these problems and solving it?
5 years in the history of nations and countries are not that long. In some other countries here or in Europe, revolution and after revolution periods took a very long time, sometimes many decades. In Tunisia, 5 years were very crucial to install democracy first, to organize the political scene, to adopt a new constitution, one of the most progressive constitutions possible. But we are facing, as you mentioned, we are facing so many challenges because of this situation internally and externally. Internally because of the unfortunately the terrorist attacks on Tunisia. Second, because of even the economic situation in Europe and in the world as a whole is not favorable for an economic prosperity, and also because of the many problems we are facing, and which represents the legs and the inheritance of the former regimes, and especially of 23 years of authoritarian regime, such as poverty, unemployment, and disparities, and a huge gap between
the rich and the poor.
Yes, between the coastal lands and cities and the inland. So we are facing all these challenges, but I'm confident that my government will find out the right solutions for these challenges.
But it sounds like the terrorism coming across the border with Libya is the most challenging aspect because it's hitting the economy and the tourism.
Indeed, I would say that Tunisia and Libya, both countries, both friendly and brotherly countries, are facing the same challenge and the same threat and the same risk of terrorism. ISIL, unfortunately, is present in Libya, and of course they would like to expand their occupancy of more lands in Tunisia. Libyans and the Libyan people is ready to fight these groups as well as Tunisians, and both countries will work together and will join their efforts to eradicate terrorism from their territories. Unfortunately, also the absence of a government and institutions in Libya is not helping solving the problem easily. We still have some crises ahead, and the solution for these crises in Libya is to install the new government, and we should create a military forces in Libya that are Republican, that obey to the government, not to militias or to groups or to, but they should be Republican, as I said. And a fourth element is to gather all these militias into security forces and armed forces in Libya, of course by excluding those who are involved in terrorism. The other element is to gather the guns that are circulating in Libya. We are talking about 30 million weapons, in Libya. And finally, is to the international community should gather its efforts to help Libya first solve all these problems, but also they should help Libya to build again and to develop and to stabilize.
So if the security and political gap continued in Libya, would Tunisia support any Western military intervention to counter the expansion of ISIS?
Our official position is clear. It was mentioned by our president, by our Minister of Foreign Affairs, and it says that any foreign intervention in Libya is not accepted by Tunisia. The only ones who can decide for any foreign intervention are the Libyans. And we don't accept and we don't allow any external military intervention in Libya unless a government, a legal government is installed in Libya, and the Libyan government decides to allow any foreign intervention. But as a neighboring country, as a brotherly country, we are opposed to any foreign intervention in Libya. Libyan problem should be solved by Libyans, not by foreigners.
U.S. Ambassador to Tunisia, Daniel Robinstein, said the U.S. is working with its allies to secure Tunisian borders. What is Tunisia looking for from the United States and its partners on that respect?
Yes, we are relying on ourselves. Our armed forces are doing their utmost best to protect our borders, and maybe it is an occasion to commend our armed forces, from military to security to customs to National Guard. They are doing a tremendous job to secure the country. As far as the international cooperation is concerned, of course, we are partnering with the United States, Germany, France, Italy, the United Kingdom, and many other partners to better secure especially the Tunisian-Libyan borders. Borders mean two partners, one from each side.
Yeah.
Since we don't have a real partner, and at least one partner. There are many partners in Libya. We should partner with the international community, but also with our closest allies, like the United States, to ensure a better protection of our borders. Until now, we are putting together a program and a strategy to secure our borders, and the United States is very helpful. They are assisting Tunisia in terms of equipments, but also in terms of training for our armed forces to secure the Tunisian-Libyan borders.
One other threat is there is an estimation of Tunisians who joined the fight with ISIS and other Salafist violent militant groups. The estimates are between 3,000 and 6,000. What is Tunisia doing to prevent those returning fighters from becoming a security threat to Tunis?
Regarding the numbers, nobody has exactly these numbers. These people, you know, they don't show up. You cannot tell who is Tunisian, who is not, who is Syrian, who is not. So it's very complicated. Talking about Tunisian, Tunisians joining these terrorist groups, yes, it is a problem. We are facing a real threat, especially from those who are returning back to Tunisia, because now I think with the strikes on terrorist groups in Syria and in Iraq, they are fleeing these two countries to go to other destinations, including Libya. And fortunately, Libya now is a refuge for these terrorists. And of course, those who are Tunisians, but others also maybe are planning to come into Tunisia and to execute their plans of expansion of their ISIL and territory and state. But our forces are there, and we are, as you mentioned, we are doing our best to protect the borders and to have an eye on everybody who is crossing our borders, and we will not allow terrorists to get into Tunisia without being arrested and investigated. And for those who are really implicated in terrorism, they should be punished upon, you know, Tunisian regulations and laws.
Mr. Ambassador, you expressed your hope that the United States would reconsider cutting its military funding for Tunisia. How satisfied is Tunisia with the U.S. military aid?
The United States, since D1, since the revolution, was the main support of Tunisia. They support us politically, they support us economically, but mostly they support us in security. And the U.S. assistance to Tunisia, either economic or military, last year and for this year, I mean for 2016, more than doubled. And for the fiscal year 2017, we keep the same numbers, but we noticed that the numbers for the assistance on the security side were a little bit down, and we are trying our best with our friends in the administration and in Congress to increase these numbers, because Tunisia now needs all its friends, and especially the United States, to face security challenges and to face terrorism.
You attended lately a meeting for the neighboring countries. Can you brief us on what was the outcome of such a meeting?
I didn't attend. This is a meeting of the foreign ministers of the neighboring countries of Libya. And it took place yesterday, March 22nd, in Tunis, and the outcomes were extremely constructive, and the first objective was to support any specific solution and resolution of the Libyan crisis. The foreign ministers of the neighboring countries expressed their strong support for a peaceful resolution of the Libyan crisis. Second, we also support the efforts led by the United Nations and by the superpowers such as the United States to help Libya secure its territory and its borders. Third, the ministers of foreign affairs expressed their willingness to be supportive of the any political resolution in Libya, and they supported also the efforts by the United Nations to install the new government and the creation of military forces in Libya, and expresses also the willingness of the neighboring countries to be side by side by their Libyan brothers to solve their crisis.
Morocco had a successful experiment or experience with countering terrorism. How important is for Tunisia to have some sort of cooperation on the security level with Morocco?
Indeed, Morocco is a success story in facing terrorism, and we commend their efforts. And we are enjoying a very close cooperation in that field, but in many other fields, especially economic activities and economic cooperation. I should say that with Algeria and Morocco, Tunisia is enjoying very close relations. With Algeria, we have strong cooperation in fighting terrorism. You remember that on our borders, the Tunisian-Algerian borders, there are terrorist groups that are active, and we are joining our efforts to fight these groups. So I would say that with our two close neighbors, Morocco and Algeria, relations are strong, are developing every day, and we are solidar in fighting terrorism, and also in developing in economic relations, and on building also the Union for the Arab Maghreb, which represents the aspiration of all population of the Arab Maghreb Union.
That brings me to the final question. What's required to establish this Maghreb Union, which is very important whether to counter terrorism or for economic prosperity for the peoples of the North Africa?
You know, the non-Maghreb Union is costing to the 5 countries at least 2% of their GDP. That means once we install this union, we will benefit. Our economy will benefit. Our people will benefit. Our business communities will benefit. But we are waiting for the appropriate time to establish the union, and there are many commissions, sectorial commissions, working on a regular basis to make progress and to advance in many cooperation level, and many sectors are now advancing. I'll give you an example. The express highway connecting Mauritania to Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and Libya is now very close to be finished, and infrastructure is very important in developing relations, people-to-people relations, but also economic relations. As I said, all sectors are working, and ministers of the 5 countries of the Maghreb Union have meetings on a regular basis to advance and to make an advance and to progress in the cooperation in their fields. Politically, still we need time, and we need more consultation and closer cooperation until we achieve our ultimate goal, which is to establish the Arab Maghreb Union.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for a very informative interview indeed.
Thank you very much, and thank you for Voice of America, who was supportive of Tunisia during these 5 years of revolution.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.